I mean, we worked really hard this week. Like I said, once again, I think the biggest thing was keeping our shape. Staying really compact, not getting caught chasing the ball. I think that's been our problem the last couple of games. We just kind of get ahead of ourselves. But, we worked on set pieces this week. We scored a goal off a set piece. I'm really pleased for Darwin Jones. He's been working tremendously hard in practice and getting his opportunities, and he scored 2 very nice goals tonight. But everybody contributed. I thought Jerry Van Avik was very good tonight. Harry strained his back a little bit there in the end of the first half, but and even Mike, Mike had his opportunities as well. So creating opportunities going forward, but just making sure we keep clean sheets.
All right, so that was Coach Braden Cloutier after the match, Orange County's first victory of the season, first full 3 points. So it means we've got some positive stuff to talk about in this episode, and we're still going to complain a little bit like we tend to do. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast.
We are underway in the postseason, the first playoff game ever played in Orange County.
It's a 1-2, Godoy. He's found a great ball into Voltson. Plenty of time. He smashes it home and doubles the visitors' lead. Thomas Voltson.
Now Segber sprinting forward on the counterattack. A little handsy there, crosses it. Pineda, the extra pass. Seaton finishes.
It rolls down to his left and parrying aside. All taken care of by the Orange County keeper.
We'll leave it for Aiden Quinn.
He'll strike towards goal, and it's gone in! An equalizer and a winner in second half stoppage time for Orange County off the left boot of Aiden Quinn.
This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast and on Facebook at Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I am with you each and every episode as we talk all things Orange County Soccer Club. And joining me as he does every episode, we've got Dylan from County Line Coalition. Dylan, it feels good to get a victory, right?
Yeah, it felt really good. Wasn't just the 4 beers that I had. I think it was more the victory. It was a great time. So I'm still kind of riding that high. It's Tuesday. I'm still riding that high.
Yeah, it feels awesome to finally get over that hump. I know we've talked about over these last few weeks. We've been a little confident in what we've done, but we've also understood, it's early in the season. There's been a lot of inconsistency in the lineups. So it's awesome to get that. Now it's hoping that opens the floodgates and we get some more, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Before we do, though, we got to also welcome back another member of our team. He's joining us. He's joined us quite a bit this season. Probably will keep joining us as long as he, as long as we remain friendly, I guess, to him. That's Alan. Alan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks. Glad to be here. I was the one game I didn't get to watch live in a while, and they ended up putting 2 in. I was a little bit mad when I saw. I caught a little bit here and there. I was out and about, but I was like, wish I could have watched this live. It would have been so cool.
Yeah. So now you don't get to watch any of the rest of the games.
That's what I was thinking.
No. You have to watch the games. You have to keep writing about some of these games for us. I know, I wrote the recap this last match. Dylan did it in a previous match. It's not as easy as you make it look, Alan.
Well, I appreciate it. It was my wife usually edits it, so she makes me look good.
Well, you should see the notes this guy takes. It's amazing. Send me a picture. I was like, my God, man.
What,
I have
Alan?
essays that have less structure than his notes for a soccer game.
I will say this. I was always, and I still am to this day, very bad at writing down notes, jotting down notes. There's no semblance of organization. Typically, if I'm actually using a pen and pencil, my notes are all over a page, nothing in any kind of order. And then I have to, a day later, you're looking and you're like, what the heck was I writing down and what was I thinking? And then at this match, I was trying to do it, on my computer. And even that, I'm bad at that because I don't know. I'm not good at it. But
well, my notebook and pen will be at the game tomorrow. So if you're there, you can check it out.
So you're going to be at the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I got a staff meeting after work, but I'm driving up from Temecula. I checked with my wife to make sure it was all right, that I wasn't coming home so late, and she said go for it. And so figured I'd get a good run in before I came up again for Phoenix.
Well, I wasn't even I didn't know if I was going to make it out to the game tomorrow. It's a middle of the week game, and I do so much throughout the week where there's limited days where I can spend time with family and whatnot. But now I might have to make at least a half of a game appearance to hang out with you, Alan, and maybe distract you from jotting down your notes or something.
Like a Stanley cameo.
But we'll get into that. We'll talk about that a little bit later or whatnot. I'll talk with Dylan and you after we're done recording. But we got to get into the thick of things. We got a few things to discuss. Yes, we're going to talk about the awesome first full 3 points for Orange County this season. And we're also going to try and do a brief preview of a team that is sort of difficult to preview, and that's Tacoma Defiance, formerly known as Sounders 2. And we'll get into that a little bit. And then we got to talk about something I think all three of us are a little, I don't know, confused about, frustrated about, whatever the right word would be. That's going to be the power rankings. And we'll get into that and then whatever else we can think of. So let's get into this match. Orange County, one of the early season favorites for the league, has been struggling, I guess, a little bit to put a consistent 90 minutes on the pitch. I think every single match that they've played this season, they've put at least 45 minutes of solid play, but for whatever reason, they couldn't maintain it. Finally, this match had happened. They put together a pretty decent, solid 90 minutes of soccer and were able to come out victorious, get 3 points. It was a 2-0 score. Probably should have been more than that for Orange County with some of the opportunities that were missed. But that's just, I guess, being a little greedy. I'll take a 2-0 score if that's what it has to be to get the first victory of the season. Dylan, you were there. We were both there at that match. You were there in the capacity of a fan out there hanging out with County Line Coalition, having fun, partying, while I was up in the press box taking notes the best way I can. Just share what it was like out there with the fans, with County Line Coalition throughout this match, and then we'll get into some more details as we talk.
I mean, it's always a party, and I think everyone was in a pretty good mood and looking forward to this game. And then, I mean, once Darwin put the first goal in, then it was, I think, a big weight off of our shoulders. And the way that we were playing was really positive and really comfortable, and it really fits the identity that the club's been, I guess, going after the last year. And so I think we were all pretty pleased with what was going on. And then Darwin scored that brace, and then it was just like full on, like, let's party, let's enjoy this. There's no way these guys are going to come back. So we were just living it up. Heckled one of the switchbacks, center backs, because he kept losing his shin guard. And Vinicius and Darwin Jones basically ended that guy's career. It was a swell time. Let's put it that way. But it was nice. I think everyone was really pleased that we'd won. I think it was a big weight off of everyone's shoulders in the stadium. I mean, players, staff, and fans alike.
No, definitely. And I like how you talk about, Darwin Jones, Vinicius, like ending the dude's career. They both looked amazing out there. They looked like they were playing with whoever was trying to defend him at times, which I think for Darwin, we come to expect that out of him. He's probably one of the more skilled dribblers and definitely probably the quickest player out there on the pitch for Orange County. Vinicius is more of a wild card. Really don't know what to expect out of him coming out of the Brazilian league or wherever he came from before this. Not much really to see to get prepared for it. And he looked pretty impressive in the limited time he was out there. At least looked like he was, willing to just go all out there and not just, take 10 minutes of just trotting around the field a little bit. Alan, you watched the replay on ESPN Plus, so you got to maybe see a little bit of a different view from what Dylan and I were seeing. What did you see in that match? What did you like? Just share your thoughts on how that match went from a broadcast standpoint.
I thought, well, you talked about one half good, one half bad. Well, I figured they had two bad halves against, what was that, El Paso? So this is the other two halves in response to those two bad halves. I thought both halves they looked great. Possession ended up being in Colorado's favor, but I think a lot of that was there's a comment that the person counted, one of the broadcasters counted 7 sideways passes between the defenders. Like it was just like back and forth. So a lot of that possession was just like Colorado defenders trying to figure out where to put the ball. I wrote DJ's name down a lot as far as good plays. Forrester was in there. Alston had a couple of really great shot chances. And I do want to point out in the 71st minute, I wrote, great tackle from Hume. He actually looked kind of fast. So I was like, dang, it was a beautiful tackle. And then I think I wrote him down again where he came up. There was another play not too long later where he came up and like he was well past the halfway line, putting the ball back into the offensive third. I thought that some of the issues didn't show up, whether Colorado didn't exploit them or things just kind of worked nicer. But I think Darwin Jones definitely looked a lot more comfortable on the wing than he did as a striker. I think that helped a lot of that play too. DJ's name is down all over the place as far as just great runs, great crosses. I mean, someone runs back post a couple times. It's like 4-0. You know, if there's another, I can't, like, I'm scrolling through tons of notes about great balls through, really close, great save by Colorado. So they just looked really dangerous. It was like, this is the Orange County that I watched last year that I fell in love with.
And if I can recall, I think Darwin Jones hit another goalpost in this match. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just expecting it now.
I saw 81st, 2 great moves, puts into the side netting.
There was one move where he just totally juked the defender fall down. I think that's what Dylan was.
That would have been Reeves. Yeah, the center back from the switchback. He was having a very rough last 5 minutes of his night. It was hilarious.
Well, especially when you had Vinicius out there with Darwin Jones, it totally just, I mean, it's pick your poison. Which one do you want to have to defend? Both of those guys were just like little tornadoes out there on the soccer field. And what about Vinicius? I mean, what are your thoughts, both of you, on his home debut? I knew he made his debut with the club in El Paso, but for the limited time he was out there, he looked like he was out there to be noticed and to say, hey, you know, I need playing time out there. This is you got to use me. What are your thoughts, Dylan?
I mean, the kid is good. And he's really young, which is kind of terrifying. It makes me feel terrible because I'm a couple years older than he is, and he's doing these things with his life, and I'm not. So
then how should I feel?
So fast. I mean, honestly, he closed down anytime the switchbacks got the ball. Especially as they were trying to get something started from the back. They try and build out. I forget who was on last week, but he said they always try and build out from the back. And we saw them trying to do that towards the end of the game. And Vinicius was always there closing down. And then even a back pass to the keeper, he got a tackle in. The kid is lightning quick. So if we're looking for a quick break or we're changing the way that we're playing midway through a game, he's going to be an awesome
he's gonna be a burst of energy out there that I think any club would be excited to see. And I'm a huge fan of a high press, and I don't think you can get much more of a high press than what he was putting on Colorado for the last 15 minutes of that match.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see like what he does with the ball at his feet in that prep, like with some actual possession and the stuff he can do in front of goal.
I think he made one really good move out there right in front of you guys at some point in the match, if I can recall.
Indeed, he did against Chris Reeves from the switchbacks.
We're gonna say that name a lot, right?
The kid is really good, so I'm excited, and I know the coaching staff looks really highly upon him. So. And he seems to like everyone. And
he's got a good personality.
Yeah, I mean, the kid apparently can't speak any English, but
he knows yeah or something like that, or hey.
He knows yeah. We did learn that.
And he said it like 13 times while me, you, and Cameron were hanging out in the tunnel there. It was pretty.
Yeah, and he'll butcher a high five and then come back to make amends for it. So
yeah,
he seems fun. He seems to be really enjoying his time, and if he's doing that, he's gonna destroy some defenses this year. I'm excited for him.
What about you, Alan? Again, you watched it from a totally different angle from what Dylan and I were seeing. What did you see out of this young Brazilian that impressed you, and what maybe you're looking forward to seeing from more of him this season?
I have a question mark about that running down the goalie, because it was like so fast. I was like, was that 13? Did they say 13? Like, I literally wrote question mark because I was like, it happened so fast, and he was like booking it toward that goalie, because usually it's like token, I'm gonna run down the goalie. Like, no, he was on a mission, like almost like put that in, like couple more inches, I think you can get a deflection back toward goal. He kind of reminded me of the spark that was Darwin Jones in the first game when he came on and kind of like sparked the offense. I think there was a little bit of that. Like, it was Colorado was kind of like trying to come back, and then when he came on, it was, maybe one good possession from Colorado in the 88th minute, but most of it was OC like holding onto the ball and dominating again, and just like pushing that pressure up again to like crank it up to make sure we kept that clean sheet, which I think was super important.
And one of, like you mentioned, Alan, the possession was definitely pretty equal. Like Colorado Springs had like a 0.1%. They were like at 50.1 and Orange County was like at 49.9 or some weird, really close stat like that. But the key stat that I was looking at throughout the match, and I think it just continued through the match, was the interceptions. Orange County was just dominating on interceptions throughout most of that match. I think on my awesome notes that I took, I noted down that it was like a 6-to-1 ratio in the first half of interceptions. I think it was like 12 interceptions for OC, 2 for Colorado Springs, which, if possession is going to be pretty equal, if you're going to be able to intercept and disrupt play like that, it's definitely going to have a positive effect for your team and for the outcome. And in the end, this actually was a great result for Orange County. Another home debut that we saw on the pitch was our newest goalkeeper, Patrick McLean. Made his debut, had a couple of key solid saves. He showed that he wasn't scared to get out there and possibly get into some contact with some of the players out there and risk, potentially getting kicked or something like that. So it was awesome to see. I got a chance to speak with him after the match. So let's hear what he had to say, and then we'll discuss a little bit more about him.
All right, so Patrick, made your home debut with Orange County tonight. What was it like for you out there in front of the home fans?
It was awesome to be here on this surface. The guys in front of me did a really good job of making my life pretty easy tonight. I give all the credit to our back four and our center mids for keeping things really tight.
So there was a couple key saves, one on each side of the field there, where there was some good contact out there. So shows you're not scared to get in there and get in the mix, and you're going to be possibly getting kicked or something like that when you're doing that. Can you just run it by like our fans what it's like to be in there when you have shoes coming at you and bodyguards coming at you?
Honestly, I've been doing this for such a long time that I don't even notice that part of it. I just see the ball, and I know that's what I have to get. And if you take contact in the way, you just hope that you're strong enough to withstand whatever they throw at you. So
perfect. Thank you so much, Sarge.
All right, so that was the new goalkeeper for Orange County, Patrick McLean, after the match. Again, a couple of key saves, one on each side of the field, where he was just getting into there with, shoes coming at him, cleats coming at him, whatnot. One of them was, on your guys on Counterline Coalition side of the field there. Dylan, do you remember any of those plays at all when you saw that? Or?
Well, the first half I was actually on the near side of the field, the camera side of the field.
Okay.
So I was getting around on the field. That is. Oh, that sounds so bad. Oh God. I was there's no way I can come back from this. I will just
You're just gonna
resign myself to that at this point. But I mean, he's obviously really good. He spent a good amount of time in the MLS. I know some injuries derailed what probably would have been a good opportunity for him last year. But I mean, he's really good, and at this level, I think the experience goes a really long way. And he's maybe he's towards the later end of his prime as a goalkeeper. He's not super old yet, so he's still athletic. His positioning is really good. And like he said, he's so experienced at this point that he seems really confident about what he there's no second guessing any of his actions. So he didn't get tested a lot in this game compared to El Paso, which was great. I mean, that's always a big positive, especially in front of I think the 5th consecutively different back line that we've put out this season. But he looked just fine. He also talks like a surfer, which I think is just hilarious. So
yeah, it's one of the reasons he decided to come to Orange County.
SoCal boy.
Alan, what about you? You got to, again, I keep saying it, you saw a different view of what we saw. You probably got to see a little bit more detail of what I'm talking about with some of those really, in traffic saves that were very, very key in keeping Orange County on top in this match. What are your thoughts on what you saw from McLean?
Yeah, I have 72nd minute, big save from McLean. There were 3 shots on target. I think that last one was kind of the biggest one to kind of keep the clean sheet going. That goal goes in the 72nd minute, and then all of a sudden you start going, "Uh-oh, is this happening again?" Like, are we going to give up another goal, or it's going to be a draw again? Because you say that the 2-goal lead is the most dangerous, right? So you get one back in the 72nd, you still have plenty of time to net that second goal. Some of the shots earlier were kind of weak, but I don't think he was tested a lot. But I think that 72nd save was a pretty good one.
Yeah, and I think I remember because I think the one you are referencing, Alan, was the one where he stayed down, or he stayed down for a couple seconds afterwards, and maybe got, I don't know, a little knock or something like that.
Yeah, it looked like it hit his hand, and it was right off of his hand. So it was one of those stingers where your hand just it was basically a palm save, no arm, just hand. I think it kind of shook him a little bit, and then he landed on the ball and was just kind of that one. We're just kind of hanging on to it.
And that quick reaction, like you said, he knocked the ball down and just pounced on it really quickly. That's really key when you're looking at what makes a goalkeeper stand out from other goals. Is the ability to make those quick reactions. You're not always actually, most of the time, you're not going to catch the ball. It's going to be some sort of parry or knockdown. And it's how quickly you can get back into position, or you can pounce on that ball to help stop or, reduce the number of opportunities that the other team has. And that was key in this match. And we saw that from McLean out there. What else about this match do we have to discuss? I don't know. Dylan, is there anything else you can think
Walker
of? Walker
freaking Hume, man. So, I mean, Leonardo shows up. Hugo Arellano gets loaned down from the Galaxy. Walker Hume sits on the bench. At least I started to think, are we going to do this thing to him again?
Similar as last season, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, no, come on. This guy is so good. You brought him back for a reason. And I don't know if someone on the coaching staff told him, go out and prove yourself, or if he realized this was his chance to fight his spot back. But my God, he was all over the place, shutting everything down, pressuring guys right and left. One of the closer chances that the switchbacks had, Hume was right there, shutting down the angle. God, he had such an amazing game. I mean, he's not going to be the man of the match because he didn't get an assist, he didn't get a goal, stuff like that. But I mean, his 52 pace on FIFA or whatever it was, he used every little bit.
It's not even that, is it?
He's got the +10 or whatever it is on that right now. That the training sessions went really well. He was incredible this week, and I think it's well worth a couple minutes of our time to praise him for that.
Well, what's even more remarkable with his performance out there is I believe he was playing on the same side as Owasso Contour, who probably had his worst performance of the early season. So there was multiple times where Hume had to basically save the day for a mistake that Contour made out there, whether it was a lazy touch or a lazy pass or a poor header or just being out of position, and Walker Hume having to run down a quick player for the other team. And every time he was called upon on that, he definitely saved the day for the defense.
He was loud back there too. He was talking a lot to Crisostomo and to Alston and to Leonardo and to Contour,
which is good.
He was a determined man on Saturday night, and it was really good to see. Not only that he was on the pitch, but that he was playing really, really well. I think you kind of have to play him again
Oh yeah, definitely.
If he's gonna have performances like this, there's no sense at all in having him on the bench. He needs to be playing. So I think at this point, one of the spots might be his to lose,
which is nice, I guess.
I would like to take credit. Maybe he listened to that Tulsa podcast. And he was like, "Oh, I got to step it up and prove that I got some hustle in me." Like,
hey, maybe, you know,
because like he was moving. He felt like he was moving faster and more, maybe like more direct, more. That's what I'm looking for. Thoughtful in what he was doing, and more purposeful. Like he just felt like, hey, if I'm gonna go all out. And like that tackle, like again, that tackle in the 71st minute was just beautiful. Like even the replay was just picture perfect placement, like almost no contact with the Colorado player, like just all ball, came through clean. So there's like no injury, no like question if it was a foul or not. Just a beautiful full sprint, in quotes, and into that tackle was just a thing of beauty.
Oh, it was awesome. And everyone knows Walker Hume's my favorite player on the team. He still is. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that might just come down to the way that everyone in front of him was playing better too. Trotter and Crisostomo did a good job of controlling things so that when there was a chance, it wasn't a big break like we've seen in the past few weeks. And Hume wasn't trying to do 5 things at once. It was just, oh, here's my man, or there's the ball, and let me go chase this down. And it was so much better showing from everyone, but I think Hume typified that, really. I mean, no disrespect to Darwin, but I think Hume probably had the best performance on the night of anyone, especially if we compare it to the earlier weeks.
Well, and I think this match showed that when Orange County is firing on all cylinders, they're gonna be a tough team to stop. Again, there was multiple chances. I can just off the top of my head think of 2 other opportunities where they should have scored a goal. One of them being the Harry Forrester breakaway where he ended up taking a shot that flew over the crossbar. I think I can't remember who he had on the left side, if it was Jerry Von Wolfgang or something like that he could have made a cross to. But even taking the shot, he still should have made that shot. It's probably one that he looks back on and said, 9 out of 10 times that should go in. And then the other one was there was a play where, I don't know if it was a give and go or whatever, with Michael Seaton and Aiden Quinn, and Seaton just was a little heavy on his pass to Quinn, and it got to the keeper before Quinn could get to it. So, I mean, right there's 2 other goals that they should have had. I mean, let's face it, maybe, in a couple months when the team is clicking on all cylinders there, or firing on all cylinders, got to get it right. Those are goals that go into the net, back of the net there. So, let's do this just for saving some time. We don't want to, I guess we would love to keep talking about the victory and whatnot, but we do got a couple other things we got to get into. So let's talk about really quick the man of the match. I know, Dylan, you sort of opened it up there saying that you think Walker Hume deserves it.
Whoa, no, I said he can't be. I mean, there's literally you can only have one.
You said he was the, no disrespect to Darwin Jones, he was the best man on the pitch.
I think if you compare it to previous weeks, that's absolutely true. But we know Darwin's been dangerous all season long. How many times has he hit the frame of the goal? How many times has he put killer runs in? He's been basically the most dangerous offensive player this team's had.
Yes.
I also think that he's man of the match. He scored 2 goals. You cannot not give him man of the match. He was.
I was just thinking you were going for like the outside the box thought on that, but
no, he's your favorite player. You can give it to Walker, and that's still a very valid. But in the way that the man of the match would go to, it's the one that has, I don't know, the biggest positive impact on the game. And if that positive impact is 2 goals that mean that your team wins the game, it's got to be that one.
All right. What about you, Alan?
Especially if you have good runs the whole time. I'm done. It's Darwin. It's got to be Darwin.
Yeah, I have to concur. Like I said, the amount of times I wrote Darwin Jones's name down is like, I wrote Darwin Jones down more than I think I wrote corner kicks, and there were quite a few of those. So Darwin Jones for sure looked really dangerous. A little bit better communication, maybe some softer touches. Maybe Seaton gets a goal here, Forrester gets a goal there. but there's a lot of good crosses in, and I think they're just waiting for that person to find them. And I mean, I'm looking at 4 or 5 goals in this game. Darwin Jones getting 2 of them, and then probably could have assisted on a couple more.
Yeah, I agree with you, both of you. Darwin Jones easily the pick for man of the match, player of the match, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and I agree with what you say, Dylan, and about he's been basically our most dangerous offensive player of the season. And keep in mind, for a couple of those games, he was playing out of position up in the the striker or whatever position for Orange County. So now that he's back in his comfortable right wing position, I just expect more out of him now. He's MLS talent playing in the USL. He's probably, like I said, the quickest player on the team. Maybe Vinicius takes that role now. I don't know, but I expect an awesome, amazing season from Darwin. He got half a season with the club last year, and now he knows his role on this team, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Let's do this. Let's talk briefly about the team formerly known as Seattle Sounders 2. They're now known as Tacoma Defiance, although I think they are still officially a 2 team for Seattle Sounders.
Correct.
So let's get into this. Let's try and preview this match as best we can. We know you can expect nothing out of what the roster is going to be from them, because at any moment they can send down like 6 players from Seattle Sounders to play. So who knows what'll happen in this match? Maybe because it's actually happening in Orange County, there's less chance it happens, because then they have to pay for those players to fly down. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Dylan, on this match? Is this a great opportunity for Orange County to take another full 3 points?
It is, because tomorrow the Sounders, the first team, plays. So don't think we're going to see any of the first teamers coming down. And that's my hopeful thought, is that none of the first teamers are coming down. There's
Where are they playing?
Seattle? I don't know. I looked it up when I was texting Alan about this yesterday. No, I don't think we're going to see a lot of the first team players come down. But yeah, they are still a 2 team. And that kind of sucks. But they haven't been very good, if we're being honest. I mean, they had a really good game. I guess you could say against Sac Republic. But they also had, I think, 6 first team players playing for them, including Will Bruin, who scored a goal. So, I mean, when it's just the 2 players, the Defiance players, the 14-year-olds that are on that team, they have a tendency to get blown out, which they did against the Galaxy 3-0 and the Roughnecks 4-0. And I think against the Roughnecks, I think it was 2 goals from Luis Lobo, the right back that no one ever marks on set pieces, who scores constantly. He's leading the Golden Boot or something right now. So we have tall players on our team, and these guys apparently can't defend. So we should be fine. In any number of ways, we have multiple people that should be able to score goals against this team. And we have experience, and that is something this team doesn't have. And pressing a bunch of teenagers, as we found out all last season, goes really well for the team that's pressing, and not so well for the team that's
fair. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, Seattle is away in Colorado, just to put that out there. I know our listeners are definitely going to ask about that. Probably not. That Sac Republic game is a little bit deceiving. Like Dylan pointed out, some of those guys have MLS minutes. They're reserve players or even bench players that get into games. I think they said there were 40 something minutes between the 6 of them in this MLS season alone. And I do think Orange County's got a really good chance of, building on the momentum and putting up a crooked number, if you will, and, fighting for another clean sheet. I feel pretty good.
Yeah. I guess the only scary part is that this match is coming only 3 days after their last match. So there's quite a possibility that there's going to be some rotation going on here, and that can disrupt the positive chemistry that happened this past weekend. But with knowing that there's an extended break after this, it's 10 days until the next match. Maybe you don't have to focus so hard on the rotation, and you can still keep some of those, maybe the more fit, younger players on the roster can definitely play a second match and just maybe try and rotate just a few players into that to try and help keep that chemistry and the cohesiveness of the team going.
Yeah, outside of that Sac Republic 2-1 victory, they scored 1 goal against Rio Grande Valley, none against Los Dos, none against Roughnecks, and only 1 against New Mexico United. And that was a home match. Their only away match was 4-0 against Tulsa. So I would like our chances to not give up a goal, which gives you a really good chance of winning if you don't give up goals. I think that's the rumor. So I do think we might have a few tired legs, but I think if you get a little bit of rotation, maybe sub a guy in a little bit sooner than you did. We got a couple burners on there that played, 20 minutes that you might be able to start. And I think, you just play hard, and I think when the first goal goes in, I think it gives them a boost of energy to close it out.
And of course, I'd love to hear like maybe an expert opinion on this team, but they're one of those teams that it's hard to find any kind of media coverage, podcast or whatnot. I think I tried last season, for 3 straight days, to find someone that covers Seattle Sounders 2, now Tacoma Defiance, and it just went nowhere. So this year I didn't even try this episode. I didn't even try to find someone to come on and talk about them. So basically what we've seen so far and the information you guys have provided is pretty much all we have to go with. What do you think, gentlemen? Do we want to do a prediction for the match?
Why not? Why wouldn't we, Ray?
I don't know. Maybe
we always do.
It seems like we're all confident that Orange County is going to be victorious, but let's go through it in a ways. Let's start with Alan. Alan, what do you think the score will be, and who is the key player for this match for Orange County?
I think it is going to be 2-0, and I think Seton finally gets his legs underneath him and puts one in, and probably maybe like the first one to kind of set the tone, and maybe Forrester or Van Wolfgang can get one in as well a little bit later in the match. But I'm thinking like maybe 2-0, nice easy victory.
Awesome. What about you, Dylan?
3-0, Orange County, of course. I don't think that really has any sort of attacking quality to really net a goal against a team that's as good as ours. Rotate away. I mean, we saw Aiden Quinn and Charlie Adams come on pretty late. Koji Hashimoto didn't feature at all. In terms of outside backs, we've got Joe Amico. We could rotate the squad. I mean, Hugo Sat, we could put him in. We could rotate the squad pretty heavily and still have a really good chance of beating this team. So, yeah, Oh, and shout out to longtime listener and one-time guest, Andy, for putting the name suggestion in for the Tacoma Defiance, because they picked it. And they still haven't bought him a cider, so
they got to give him something for that. He should have trademarked that name before they took it and then make them buy him out or something. But yeah, I think Orange County should be able to easily come out victorious in this match. I think getting a victory is a big plus from what they got this past weekend. I think that sort of helps build the confidence. We're starting to see a little bit more of a set game plan with certain players that are in certain positions, and it looks like Coach Braden Cloutier is figuring out who's going to be his starting 11 for most of the season, rotating here and there. I'm going to go with your prediction, Dylan. I'm going to say 3-0 for Orange County. And I think Michael Seaton's going to be the star of the show for Orange County in this one. And maybe it'll be his turn for a brace now that Darwin got his. So we have that. All right, let's get into some fun stuff to talk about. And I know it's going to...
Let's kill the mood.
Let's kill the mood. Let's get into the fun stuff here. I know there's going to be some people, if they decide to listen to us or if not, it doesn't matter to me, but some of the fans are going to think we're picking, or I think I was on Twitter already earlier on our Twitter account, and I guess someone thinks we just talk about them every week, even though I was trying to look when was the last time we mentioned or seriously talked about Phoenix Rising FC. But let's talk about the USL Championship Power Rankings. And the big topic, at least in my mind, of what I'm seeing there is there's still, I mean, it's getting a little bit more settled, but there's some serious questions still, some inconsistency. The big one that I noticed right away when I saw the power rankings when they came out is the team sitting number 7 in the power rankings, the team from Phoenix Rising FC. They're 7th in the power rankings. They have 0 wins, 0 losses, and 4 draws. Yet they somehow managed to stay in the same position they were last week after they drew against a Fresno team that had 10 players on the pitch for most of that match. And yeah, so that's weird to me. I also dug a little bit deeper when I was looking at the power rankings. The next team with 0 victories on the season is all the way down at number 30, which is Swope Park Rangers. So it seems weird when certain teams, can't get a victory, they still get punished. When certain teams draw, they still get punished. But when Phoenix draws, for whatever reason, the league likes to keep them. I was actually shocked that they didn't even move up in the rankings after what I've seen so far in this season. Dylan, what are your thoughts on, I guess not just Phoenix, but just if you want to share just a slight bit of your thoughts, because I know we're actually going to have an article we'll post up on our website that gets into more details. But what are your just simple thoughts on maybe where Phoenix is on the power rankings?
Well, one, it's a good thing I haven't written that yet, so I can't even just go and look at those notes. But seriously, it's a freaking joke. I mean, I think our friends up in Reno talked about it last week on their podcast, saying it's a joke. This team hasn't won a game yet. They keep drawing. They keep conceding. I think this is the first game of the year they didn't concede anything. But, you can't score and dominate a game. There's a team that has 10 men for, I think, 50 minutes. I don't understand how you do these power rankings if it's not based on form, because that doesn't make any sense. Yes, Phoenix is obviously a really talented team. They've got the quality there. Orange County is also a really talented team, and it's got the quality there. Yeah, County is sitting in 18th, and we've won a game, so I really don't get it. And also, Fresno is not a very great team. They're like fringe playoff contenders for sure. I think they're a little bit better than they were last year. But you're drawing it's just,
well, the interesting,
I'm so sick of these power rankings.
An interesting thing, because I'm looking at Fresno right now on the power rankings. The comment for them is they got a point despite being down 10 men, yet they didn't move up or down either in the power rankings, which, okay, I guess I sort of get that, but you're giving them this compliment that they still drew a match even though they were down to 10 men in the match. That maybe when you're writing it like that, as opposed to, I think, what does Phoenix's say? It says something about
no side until Rising had recorded 4 consecutive draws to start a rate. It's like it's a positive thing that you can't stop conceding.
That they set
stop conceding and you can't score.
They set a record basically for not winning a match and only drawing matches. That seems a little weird. And then, yeah, the fact that they stayed at number 7. And yes, Phoenix fans, if any of you are listening to this, feel free to bash us on Twitter. I think most of the league will agree with us on this.
Call me when you have a win, Phoenix fans.
Well, the go-to thing is we like to talk about them every week. So, but
to be
Alan, what are your thoughts?
to be fair, they are undefeated.
That is true. That is true.
No, I don't want to spoil a lot of I literally wrote a rant for this week's power rankings. So I will leave some of that to the article. But yeah, the fact that they're at home against a Fresno team, 10 men for 50 minutes, and they managed 2 shots on target. They had 23 shots, 17 from inside the box, and only 2 on target. There's definitely some problems there. And for me, power rankings are who is good right now, not who's got the best roster or who's going to make the playoffs. It's who is hot and who is tearing up the league right now. That's why I was super confused that Tulsa dropped 12 to 24.
With 3 wins on the season.
I know that joke. I know they have that other teams have games in hand, but Tulsa's first place in the West, and they're ranked 24th. So it's To me, like power rankings should be, if you only watch like this week and maybe like the last couple weeks, if you were like, who's the best team, not like, hey, who made it to the finals last year? Because I mean, even Louisville is falling, and they've actually won a couple games. Yeah, they look kind of rough at times, but they have points.
Yeah,
and they have. I mean, but yeah, the Phoenix one was. Yeah, I wrote 3 paragraphs of rant before I even got to the rest of the power rankings. I mean, they're relatively short paragraphs, and one of them is literally just a list of teams that all have wins. So yeah, that was. I opened it up expecting to see Phoenix fall pretty significantly, at least like a spot, maybe.
Significantly, at least a spot.
Right, the way
like
Wade's been going, one spot down would be a significant drop for Phoenix. But yeah, it was, and I get that it's early and it's hard to put some of these middle of the table teams, but Phoenix, come on.
So let's jump on some conspiracy stuff here, right? Because I think last season, regardless of what happened, the team sort of like always had like FC Cincinnati like was like the face of the league.
They went like they have the league on. They were good. They won games.
No. I get that. So this season now it's like Phoenix Rising is sort of the league is coddling them a little. I don't know. When you see something like this, maybe the league knows something. Maybe Phoenix Rising is going to MLS after the season, and it's like this farewell season of we're going to treat you nice. Bye-bye.
Sick.
I don't know. Conspiracy theories right there, right? Yeah, it's ridiculous. I agree with somewhat with what you're saying, Alan. I think really for power rankings, you need to take what's happened up until this point in the season. You're going to focus more on what's happened over the last few weeks, but you got to sort of take into account what's happened since the beginning of the season. Unfortunately for Phoenix, that doesn't help their case because, again, they're winless in the season. And I think I counted 3 or 4 of them that have 3 victories, which means those teams have more victories than they do losses or draws on the season, or at least it's 50-50. You know, Tulsa Roughnecks have played 6 matches. They have 3 wins. Who else is down there with 3 victories?
Portland's got 3 wins. They're 3-1-1. They sit in 11th.
So they're above 500 if you're going to talk about, traditional American rankings as far as standings. You go with winning percentage, right? They're above 500 when you look at something like that. And then there's one other team, I think, with 3 victories.
3-2-0.
And
they're
yet
22nd.
They're 22nd. And yeah, they're the ones that the reason Tulsa dropped is because they beat Tulsa. I always think, regardless of what you think of the talent of the roster, when 2 teams with winning records basically are battling and one of the teams beats them, usually it doesn't make you drop 12 points in the power rankings, because usually that means you're losing to a pretty decent squad out there. And usually you're supposed to take that into account when you're building your power rankings. Oh yeah, Tulsa lost, but they lost to another team that's won quite a bit this season. So maybe not drop them 12 spots in the power rankings, maybe drop them only a few. And again, like we talked about with Phoenix, they drew against the team that the league seems to think is the 16th best team according to these power rankings. So Phoenix should have dropped, just thinking logically, but it is what it is, right?
I mean, it's not saying that Tulsa is going to be first place forever.
No,
they're just like, I mean, and there some of their wins are against, some lower teams. And so maybe that's a little bit of a calculus, but I mean, you got to take a look at what's happening in reality right now, not what might happen later, or they have a lot of talent. Talent isn't winning games right now. And that, like, if Phoenix goes on a run and wins 5 in a row, then sure, put them at the top. But until then, you got to be real with them and say you're not being successful right now on the field.
You are literally bad in history. You're creating bad history. You don't belong in the top 10. I think what it is, there's 3 potential things. There's the East Coast bias, because 7 of the 10 teams in the top 10 of the power rankings are East Coast teams. And no disrespect, like, St. Louis deserves it. The Rowdies, they deserve it. The other thing is that there's something in the water in Tampa. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Like bath salts, maybe. And the third thing is that Florida Man might just be, they just find some guy who's on bath salts and then have them pick crests and then just assign it that way. I really don't know. None of this makes any sense to me at this point.
No, it doesn't. And I think we, earlier on, I know it's only 5 weeks in, but we were sort of talking about how Sacramento was getting, screwed a little bit with their power rankings. All they did was continue to draw, right? And it seems like the league thinks a draw means you have to just stay in your position, because I think that's what was happening with Sacramento. Actually, no, they only drew one time. So I don't get. I'm confused at this point too. But yeah, for some reason, Phoenix stays where they are, regardless of the fact that all they do is. And I think when Orange County drew the first match of the season, they dropped they dropped position right then and there. So, and that was against a decent Reno team. I mean, so who knows?
USL makes me sad on a regular basis.
And that's why we talk about it each and every week on our website, right?
They disappoint me more than I disappoint my parents. And then my parents don't talk about it, so yeah.
That's sort of sad. Any other USL stuff either of you have to discuss?
I'm excited to check out a live USL game tomorrow. First of the season, so I'm stoked to smell that grass, to see some non-NPSL soccer being played.
You do know, like, there's so when the ball can go out of bounds in this game. There's not like walls enclosing anything either.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird.
Guys aren't really old. They have to run around a little bit more. You'll notice they're all a little bit skinnier.
It's true. There were the team that Soccers were playing on Sunday. There was like a dude who he had to be like mid to late 40s.
It's like that guy that plays in England that we talked about like a month or two ago, right, Dylan?
Yeah.
I forget what his name is.
Steve McNulty, for Tranmere Rovers, captain formerly of the Liverpool Youth Academy, and my favorite, leaders of League One, Luton Town.
Yeah, the guy that looks like they pulled him from a pub right before the match.
Yeah, oh, for sure. 6'1", like 220, gray hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not expecting like a 10-4 scoreline. So.
Oh, yeah, 10-4 on that.
Yep.
That was really low-hanging fruit. I apologize to all of our listeners.
Yes.
This is why my parents are disappointed in me.
10-4 on that. Maybe that's a possible title for our episode. Dylan, do you have any other USL related stuff you want to talk about, or?
God, I felt like I had something, but honestly, I can't think of anything. I mean, I'm now excited about this season again. It just took that win. I think everyone was pretty pleased about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the West is shaping up to be right now. Los Dos looks like they're having a good year, but how long does that last for? Reno can't seem to not beat themselves in a game, and then they finally got beat by a team. It's a weird year. And I don't think Sacramento's got the quality to win it, because I don't think they've got the offensive quality to win it. So it's so confusing. Oh, you know what? Shout out to former Orange County player Zach Kobayashi for scoring for Portland too. I think in the 72nd minute against Oklahoma. You know, it's always nice to see Orange County and former Orange County players doing well. So, you know, big shout out to him for getting on the score sheet. I know 2018 was a long year for him. So
yeah, it's hard when you're a younger player, and you just have to sit out a whole season with injury. Very tough to deal with, and it's good to see him back out there, even though it is for another squad, but it is what it is. He probably wasn't going to get much playing time with the depth we have going and the quality we have going anyways. So,
and
good for him.
One more thing. It is Orange County based. I don't know, but apparently Ben is leaving or has left the club. Koji posted something yesterday on Instagram saying goodbye and good luck. So we'll miss you, Ben. I'll never be able to heckle our team operations coordinator again, because I won't know who they are.
All right, let's do this. Let's get into our random thoughts of the episode. Who should we go with first? Let's go with Alan first.
Oh, random thoughts. Just finished Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh.
So if you haven't had a chance to check out some new video games, that's a good one. Pretty good storyline. Really good graphics. And I like it because it's like some like the modern warfare stuff. Too hard with all the crazy guns. I just like a 6-shooter or a repeater. Nice and easy. That was what I spent most of my time doing on spring break. was not researching Ray's mistakes. It was looting trains and robbing banks.
It's one of those games that I'm waiting for it to go on sale to purchase.
Oh yeah. It was a gift. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played it for probably another year and a half. I'd do that too. Like, wait for it to be like $10, $15, and I'm game.
Or like for me, waiting for it to go on to Xbox games with gold, and it's literally a free game.
Right, like Bomberman.
Yeah, I think I've been doing the Xbox game with gold for like since they introduced it, and every month, regardless if I like the game, I go and like purchase it just because once you do it, you own it basically, and unless you cancel your membership, which I don't ever see myself doing. So I think I have like 300 games at this point on my Xbox, right. And I only play like 4 or 5 of them at all. So and I just downloaded because it was on sale the Friday the 13th game, which seems pretty interesting. It seems like people have been playing it for a while, and I just suck at it. So
you should let your kids play it.
Oh yeah, that would be a good. You
Parent of the year, Dylan strikes again.
You could propose that to my wife and see what happens to you, Dylan. Dylan, your random thought.
As always, literature recommendation to begin things. It's not a book.
Okay,
a poem. Thank you. From Petrarch. Petrarch is known as Petrarch.
Okay.
Petrarch, known as the original sonneteer, the Italian, wrote a lot about a particular lady in his life. I'm going to recommend 2 sonnets of his. 3, the opening line of "It was the day when the sun's rays turned pale with grief," and then the God, what is it? Got to go through my book really quickly. His 333rd sonnet. So this guy wrote a lot. Which the opening line is, "Go, grieving rhymes of mine, to that hard stone." Well worth reading. Most of them are about love. So if you want to like impress your spouse or significant other or whatever you people have these days, that's a good place to go. Just don't try and pass it off as your own, because I mean, really, the dude's better at writing than all of us.
I don't know. When you're reading off some of those lines, I'll have to read some of those poems. It sounds like he's just throwing a bunch of random words together, sort of like what Migos does when they rap.
Wait, is Migos a group?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the three amigos.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they just like
so much sense.
I swear they go in and they just get pieces of paper, write down 100 words, put them in a bowl, pick out the words, and somehow get those to go together into their rap. That sounds like what your poem was. So maybe he's the original member of Migos.
That doesn't make sense.
So Ray,
yo,
I just want you to Google.
Yo,
are you gonna tell me to Google? Okay,
drop splash banana.
That's Lily Singh, right?
Yes.
That's
that is awesome. Like
that is the best video
explanation. Ever. Yeah, perfect explanation of how to write a Migos song. I just saw that the other day.
We're on the same page, and then Dylan has no idea what we're talking about because he doesn't have Facebook. So you probably found it on Facebook, right?
Twitter,
okay.
Facebook,
one of the two.
One of those two, yeah.
My other recommendation for this week is a movie from the 1970s with Chris Christopherson as the lead role. It's called Convoy, a song by country western trucker artist C.W. McCall. Yes, Alan, it's in color. It was the 70s. It's a really good movie. It's really campy. It's really funny. It's well worth the watch, and there's a wonderful continuation through the whole movie of that song. It's so good. It's very funny. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Oh, Dylan, what's the name of this movie?
Convoy. Just put Chris Christopherson Convoy.
Okay, I'm looking up some information here really quick.
In the dark of the moon on the 6th of June, and a kind with hauling logs.
So
have
really quick,
Ron and a Jimmy hauling hogs.
So Dylan says this is an amazing movie, right? Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, they give a 42% for that movie. So now we know what Dylan's movie thoughts are.
I don't watch movies a lot, but when I do, I make sure that they're really campy.
Dude,
I'm generally old.
I'm looking at I don't know if the poster art for this, and it looks like one of those romance novels that women read. late at night when their men are out doing whatever their men are doing.
I bet men read those books too, Ray. That
Probably.
was very, very close-minded of you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Disappointed.
Let me get into my random thought. It's going to be sort of a rant. For those of you that remember, if you listened last weekend, I was in South Carolina on my return trip home on a big, large American airline or American-based airline. Yeah, our initial flight got delayed by like 2 hours, which means we missed our connecting flight back home to LAX, and we tried all we could to get standby on the last flight of the night, but unfortunately, a family of 4, there was only 2 seats left, so we had to get a hotel voucher, stay at a hotel, get dropped off at the hotel around 11 o'clock, have to go buy some supplies because everything was packed on our check-in. By the time I get to bed, it's like 12:30. Wake up at 5 o'clock to get back to the airport to come home. Finally got home. It was horrendous. So me and my wife have decided no more connecting flights. We're only going to go places where there's direct flights from one of the local airports. Yes, we'll do LAX still, but we're not going to do connecting flights because of that. Tottenham wins again, this time in the Champions League. So they are now 2-0 in the new stadium. And in both matches, they have not conceded a goal. So, yes.
Now they're ready to lose to already relegated Huddersfield on the weekend. So let's be realistic. But honestly, kudos, because City can suck it.
Dude, I'll take the loss if they can win the Champions League. I don't mind what happens. Because, if they win the Champions League, they automatically qualify next season, regardless of where they finish in the Premier League. So that's awesome.
Can you guys beat City in the league, though? Because that would be helpful.
Why are you cracking up? They still could, technically. And anything's possible with this new, amazing, beautiful stadium. They did a tifo at the match while the Champions League song was going on. Pretty much, I don't know if anyone's seen what the new stadium looks like. They have one of the goal lines. It's just single tier seating all the way up. Sort of like what they have at Borussia Dortmund. And they did a tifo where everyone in every seat got a, thing to hold up, either white or blue. And in the end, it spelled out their motto or whatever it is. To dare is to do, or something like that. So,
Ray, do you ever look at the chat? Do you ever look at the chat while we're doing this podcast?
Every once in a while, but it distracts
me.
You
should really look at it more.
Oh my gosh. Why? What's going on now?
Well, you start to mention Spurs, and then he talks about the tifo. So Alan sneaks in a anti-Nashville comment with the "was it printed?" Then he sneaks in a anti-Tottenham new White Hart Lane comment with the "it looks like a toilet." And then I ask if the tifo is a massive painting of the cheese room or printing. I mean, either or apparently, because tifo doesn't mean anything anymore.
Whatever.
Long live the cheese room, apparently. Whatever.
That is sad that the cheese room is not going to be there.
You know what's not sad? Luton, 7 points clear, top of League One, double promotions about to be guaranteed.
You know what else is a little exciting is our friends over there, AFC Wimbledon. After we spoke with them, I think we gave them some good luck or something because they've been on a roll. I think they're now out of relegation zone right now.
They are in 22nd.
What's relegation zone? I don't know.
Bottom 3? No, bottom 3. So they are still there, but they are close. They are very close.
I think I think they played a match like today or yesterday.
It's on goal difference right now. And they've won 3 of their last 5. The team that's ahead of them right now has lost 4 of the last 5. The team in front of them has lost 5 of the last 5. So go on, you Wombles or whatever. But more importantly, come on, you Hatters. 7 points clear. We go.
All right, let's end this because we're just starting to talk about random stuff here.
It's just the English football podcast at this point.
Yeah, let's do this. Before we end this, though, I want to remind everyone we are part of Beautiful Game Network. BGN.FM is where you can find our podcast along with many other wonderful podcasts that cater to the soccer fan that loves soccer and only wants to hear soccer podcasts. That's where you can go for that. They have MLS podcasts, USL podcasts, and also World Soccer podcast, all part of that wonderful network of podcasts. Again, BGN.FM, or you can find their Twitter at the BGN or at BGNFM, I think it is. I can't remember now. Dylan, correct me.
Yes, you're right.
What is it?
At BGMFM.
All right, perfect. And what else? Oh, yeah. Alan, remind our listeners where they can follow you on social media.
Underwood 48.
Okay,
on
hold
Twitter.
on. Do not go to BGN FM. Do not go to
No.
BGN FM. It's the BGN FM.
Okay.
Do not go to BGN FM. It is the BGN FM. Cannot stress enough that you should not do not go.
I gotta look at this
to
now. I gotta
BGN.
see what this is.
Your wife is not going to be pleased if you look at BGN FM.
I didn't see anything bad.
Do not go to BGN.
Is there?
Do not look that up at work. If you're at work, do not look that up.
Are you talking about on Twitter or like on?
Yeah, on Twitter. Do not go on Twitter and look up BGN FM.
Nothing weird comes up for me, so that's weird. Go for it, Alan. Where can our listeners?
Underwood 48 on the Twitter machines, and that's pretty much the best place. Facebook's private, so don't even try.
Okay, Dylan. Sure, where our listeners should go on Twitter for you.
Yeah, you cannot find me at BGNFM on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter and Reddit at OCSC_Dylan. And I think I've been doing a decent job of updating the podcast Instagram lately. And also you could find our team's subreddit on Reddit at reddit.com/r/Orange County SC. So have at it.
You can find me on Twitter at DJ Ray Samora. You can find the podcast Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast. Find us on Facebook. Go to our website, orangeandblacksoccercast.com or OCSCpodcast.com. For all of you listeners that have been listening to us for day one, or since day one, thanks for doing so and continue to do so. We definitely enjoy that part of doing this, I guess. And for those of you listening for the first time, go back and listen to some old episodes, give us some listens, and enjoy what we have to time. That's going to end things up for Dylan. For Alan, I am Ray, and we are out.
Oh, County, you are my team until the day I die. And when that happens, I'll still be singing way up in the sky. Whoa.
Podcasts are a great way for your business to advertise to target audiences. And the Orange and Black SoccerCast is looking for advertisers like you. If you're interested in advertising your business on our podcast, please email us at info@orangeandblacksoccercast.com. The Orange and Black SoccerCast has joined forces with many other soccer podcasts, many of them focusing on the USL. We're now part of the Beautiful Game Network, BGN.FM.